Welcome to Dark Africa Files, where we uncover the hidden truths of Africa's shadowed past. Tonight, we step into Zululand, 1879, where a proud nation defied an empire. This is the story of the Zulus' last spear, the Battle of Isandlwana, where courage met betrayal, and a king's dream burned under a blood-soaked sky. Subscribe now, and let's dive into a tale of glory, defiance, and tragedy. In the rolling hills of what is now South Africa, the Zulu kingdom stood tall. A titan of African power. By 1879, King Cetshwayo Compand ruled a nation forged by his uncle, Shaka Zulu. Shaka's genius turned the Zulu into a war machine. Their weapon? The Ntshingwayo, a short, stabbing spear, named for the sound it made when it struck flesh. Ntshingwayo. The Zulu weren't just warriors. They were a nation, with pride, culture, and a fire that burned across the continent. Cetshwayo, a king in his prime, was no warmonger. But he saw the British Empire's shadow creeping closer. The British, hungry for land, saw the Zulu as a threat. By late 1878, tensions boiled. The British, led by Lord Chelmsford, demanded the Zulu disband their army and surrender their freedom. Cetshwayo's answer? Defiance. "I will not bow," he said, "to those who chain my people." The British brought more than muskets and cannons. They brought lies, ultimatums, and informants who whispered Zulu secrets. Cetshwayo rallied his impis, 25,000 warriors strong, led by commanders like Ntshingwayo, a general whose strategies would soon shake the world. The stage was set for a clash that would stain the earth red. January 22, 1879. The British camp at Isandlwana buzzed with overconfidence. Lord Chelmsford, sure of victory, split his forces. He left 1,700 men, redcoats, colonial troops, and African allies, under Colonel Anthony Durnford and Lieutenant Colonel Henry Pouliane. They thought the Zulu were miles away. Scared of British might. They were wrong, so very wrong. Ntshingwayo, the Zulu general, had a plan. A strategy from Shaka's days, called the impondo zenkamo, the buffalo horns. The horns would encircle the enemy, while the chest crushed them head-on. At dawn, 20,000 Zulu warriors moved like ghosts through the valleys. Silent, unseen. Among them was Mvula, a young warrior whose name meant rain. A name that would soon carry a darker meaning. As the sun rose, a British scout spotted movement. Just a few natives, he laughed. Then the hills exploded. Zulu war cries, Usuthu, tore through the air. The impis surged, their black and white shields a-wall, their spears glinting like fangs. The British lines buckled. Muskets roared, but the Zulu were too fast, too many. Mvula, gripping his Ntshingwayo, fought with the fury of his ancestors. He believed their spirits guided his hand. The British fought hard, but their thin red line crumbled. Durnford's men, caught in the open, were swallowed by the horns. Pouliane's troops, pinned against the hill, fired until their bullets ran low. By noon, the camp was a slaughterhouse. Redcoats fell, their blood soaking the earth. Mvula saw a young British soldier, barely 20, drop his rifle and beg for mercy. The Zulu code spared no enemies in battle, but Mvula paused, a flicker of doubt in his heart. Chaos reigned. Zulu warriors swarmed, redcoats fired desperately, smoke and dust choked the air. Mvula drove his Ntshingwayo through a British banner, tearing it apart. Isandlwana burned, and the Zulu had won. But at what cost? By dusk, the battle was over. Over 1,300 British and colonial troops lay dead, their camp in ruins. The Zulu lost nearly 2,000 warriors, but they had humiliated an empire. Mvula, bloodied but alive, stood atop the hill, clutching a captured British saber. He whispered a prayer to his ancestors, believing this victory would save Zululand. But victory hid a poison. Unknown to Cetshwayo, traitors lurked among the Zulu. Informants, bribed by British gold, or broken by fear, leaked Zulu plans. One traitor, a minor chief named Ntshingwayo, slipped away from Isandlwana. He met a British contact in secret, carrying word of the Zulu's strengths and their weaknesses. Ntshingwayo wasn't just greedy. He was afraid. The British had burned his kraal months before, promising worse if he didn't obey. Lord Chelmsford, stunned by defeat, regrouped. The British Empire didn't forgive humiliation. They poured men and weapons into Zululand, armed with secrets from traitors like Ntshingwayo. 6 months later, at the Battle of Ulundi, the Zulu faced a new British force. Gatling guns, unbreakable lines, and cold resolve. The impis charged, as they always had. But bullets cut them down like grass. Cetshwayo's capital burned. The king, betrayed and broken, was captured and exiled. Mvula, who survived Isandlwana, fell at Ulundi, his Ikawa still in hand. As he died, he whispered. The spirits lied. The Zulu kingdom crumbled. Its lands carved up, its people subjugated. The last spear had been thrown. The Battle of Isandlwana was a fleeting triumph. A moment when the Zulu proved Africa could stand against empires. But betrayal and overwhelming force crushed their dream. Today, the Zulu spirit lives on. In dances, songs, and the pride of a people who never bowed. Cetshwayo's defiance, Ntshingwayo's genius, and Mvula's courage remind us, even in defeat, the Zulu's last spear pierced history's heart. What other African stories of defiance lie buried? Subscribe to Dark Africa Files, hit the bell, and join us next time as we uncover more secrets of our continent's shadowed past. Until then, keep the fire of history burning.